Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video we're going to do a installation and review of the Philips Hue Cher ceiling lamp. So the model is Cher and it is one of the Hue devices, part of Philips Hue system. So I pretty much have Hue bulbs throughout the entire house. I don't think there's any incandescents left at all. They're all controlled by either the app or by Amazon's Echo, and I have two front bedrooms in my house that do not have any overhead ceiling lights in them, and so I always had to use either floor lamps or table lamps. And there's a room that I cleared out and I'm using for a special purpose, which I'll get to in another video. But basically I want to have overhead lighting and not have to deal with floor lamps and plugs and all this other kind of stuff. So I was searching around for some ceiling lights, and I was looking for something, modern, contemporary in styling, and I figured, well, I'll check out Philips Hue system since I already have everything else, and this would already be ready, set to go to hook up to the Hue hub and be controlled by all the other things I have today. So this is it right here. It comes in a pretty big box when you get it. And pretty much all you get with it is the light. Philips does not give you any wire nut connectors, no screws, nothing. You get the light and that's pretty much it, and a little instruction booklet to come with it. It's in a pretty big box. It's a big lamp, but it is in pretty thick foam. What's weird about it though is the lamp is actually, if you actually looked at the inside of the box here, just open it up here. So you'll just get the little instruction booklets to go with it, and then when you pull this out, you can see there's the foam packaging that goes with it. But if you look at it, you can see sort of the indentation there, and they have the lamp sort of jammed against the one side of the box instead of being centered right in the middle, which would make more sense. They have it sort of like on the one side of the box, and they actually face the plastic lens outward. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is because there's a lot of complaints online about damaged lights when people open the boxes. So the packaging itself is really good. They just have it positioned weird inside the box for some strange reason. So that side of the box, if it gets a hard hit on it, could crack the plastic lens for the light. So when you get your lamp, if you do buy this one, first thing you should do is take it out, check the globe or the lens to make sure there are no cracks anywhere, not only on the surface, but take it off the lamp and make sure the edges, nothing's broken or cracked in it, because apparently that's been a pretty big complaint for people buying these and then they're damaged. So luckily mine's not damaged, so I'm good to go, but just FYI on that. Okay, so here's the lamp as you get it out of the box. It is a pretty big lamp, which is one of the reasons I liked it. So instead of being just this little dinky little ceiling fixture in the middle of your room, it's a nice big saucer shaped lamp. It's about 19 inches in diameter, somewhere around there, and it's split into two halves. You have the black base part of it, and then of course the white lens itself, and it pretty much looks just like a flying saucer, right? Just a saucer shaped, very modern. Would fit into any contemporary design, also any mid-century modern design. Fits perfect. And so I think that's part of its cost, is its design, as opposed to just the mechanics of it. So we'll talk about the cost at the end of it, but I was looking for something in this type of design that was bright enough for the room. This is rated at 3,000 lumens, so that's pretty bright. That would be like 4, Philips screw-in type bulbs, which I think are around 700 to 800 lumens, right? So you need about a 4-socket ceiling lamp to do that. Now, You could get away with that, so if you want to save some money, you could obviously just use a regular ceiling fixture and screw in the Hue bulbs, which are only like $14 a piece. But this obviously has all the Hue receiver and everything inside of it already. And we'll open it up so you can see the mechanics of it, but it's a lot more expensive than just buying a regular ceiling fixture and putting some Hue bulbs in it. Same effect, you have the same control, just a different way to do it. Okay, so you can see here I installed a ceiling box here in the middle of the ceiling. So I did that. There's two front bedrooms in my house, and I did it in both of those. I've already installed it in the other one over there. So this is the second one here. And when you install your ceiling boxes, make sure that they can support the weight of this light. So this light has a little bit of weight to it. It's not quite as light as probably something you pick up at Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. So just keep that in mind. So this actually is a ceiling fan box that I have installed there, which has a bar above it that's screwed into the two ceiling joists. So it's it can support a whole ceiling fan if necessary. But this is just something to keep in mind if you have what they call an old work box, which means it's just a hole that was cut in and the box gets slid up and it's basically clamped between the drywall and the box. That's not going to be enough to support this lamp. So this lamp's a little heftier, and you're going to need a ceiling box that's either nailed to the joist, or you have a ceiling fan box like this one, which has a bar that the box is attached to, and that bar is attached to in between the joists. So one of the two. So just keep that in mind before you purchase this lamp. All right, so let's look at what makes the lamp. So obviously you have the lens cover here, or the globe, right? It simply snaps off. So there's like 4 clips on each of the corners. So you just put your fingers and sort of pry it up on one of the edge. Just do it slowly, and it'll pop right off. And then you'll see the actual guts of the lamp here. So you can see there are 4 of these plastic clips that go around that hold on the globe. So that's why you want to be careful, because they are plastic and you could break them. They're clear plastic and they're pretty hard, probably because they want them to be hidden when the lamp lights up. But you know, that's something that you could break if you're not careful. Then you have the receiver box, which obviously is you know, to connect to the Hue app. And then you have the little circuit board for the LEDs, and that's all you have here is a big strip, LED strip running around the whole perimeter of the lamp. That's pretty much it. So it's just basically an LED strip that, you know, is stuck to the inside rim of this lamp, and that's all it is. All right. Now, to mount it on the ceiling, you actually have to take it apart a little bit, and they do not give you any tools with this either. So if you don't have it before you even start this installation, you're going to need a T20 Torx screwdriver. These are not Phillips. So it's funny that they don't want to give you the tool in the kit, and yet they use these special types of screws, which, you know, not everybody has Torx drivers in their house. Most people have a Phillips and a flat screwdriver. They could have just used a Phillips screw there, but they use these Torx. So you need a Torx T20 to get this off. And basically these 3 screws that you see here, you have to loosen up so you can slide off this sort of cream colored plate here that has the LEDs on and everything. So let me get a Torx and I'll show you how that goes. Alright, so all you're going to do is just loosen these up. You don't have to take them all the way out. And then once you loosen them up, you can see you're just going to twist it to the left and then pull it up. And then it's going to come out. And on the bottom here, you can see there's your hot and your neutral lines that you're going to connect to your box. Alright. But the reason you have to take this off is because you have to get to this portion right here, which is this plate right here. So you have your ground wire here, which again you connect to your box, okay? But you have to unscrew these little knurl knobs right here. So there's 3 of them that you have to unscrew. And when you do that, what happens is there's a plate that will release underneath that basically sits in there. And this is the plate that you need to mount up to your ceiling box on your ceiling. So you have to get these apart first. Okay, now this piece right here is fairly heavy. It's made out of some kind of a cast aluminum or cast, some kind of die cast metal. It's fairly heavy. This is the heavy part of the lamp. And so you're going to need 2 people to put this up unless you get creative like I did, because I didn't have somebody else to help me with it. Because if you're trying to connect the wires from your ceiling to this and hold all these pieces together, it's really a pain. So Philips could have done a much better job with this. And what I mean by that is on the bottom piece here where these 2 wires are, they could have done a quick disconnect and attached it to the end of those, and then gave you a pigtail with a quick disconnect that you could attach to the box first, and then to hook it up you just have to snap the connector together, and that would have been much easier to handle if you don't have 2 people holding it up. So as it is right now, in order to get all this mounted, you have to run the wiring through the center here and then attach all this together and then somehow screw this all together with one hand, which is next to impossible. So I'm going to show you a different way to do it so that you can get around that. But your main goal first is you're going to have to take that plate off, and then you're going to get to this plate right here. And so your first step is to get this mounted up on your ceiling box. Now, these 2 slots right here, standard electrical box spacing, so that will be fine. Again, they don't give you any screws. No hardware with this at all, which again we'll talk about at the end. And most ceiling boxes you buy when you're installing them don't have one unless you're replacing a lamp. If you're replacing a ceiling lamp, then you probably have them, but in this case I don't, so now I got to get 2 screws that will do that. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to the ceiling box, but before I do that, I'm going to actually take these pigtails off of here, and I'm going to attach them to my wires in my box on the ceiling first, and then run them through here so all the stuff in the box is already set to go. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do after that to make this a little bit easier. So what I'm trying to do basically is get this mounted and this mounted, which is the really heavy piece, all into the ceiling. Then I only have to attach the lighter disc here. That's what I'm trying to do. So let me get the plate mounted up on the ceiling and we'll continue on. Oh, I forgot one thing. So we're going to take this ground wire off too so we can mount this in the box, and then after we get this plate mounted up, then we'll reattach it here. Now this one is a Phillips screw, so that is not a Torx, so now you need a Phillips screwdriver to get that one off. Okay, so here we have our wires connected to our wires in our box here. So we've got our ground, the hot, and the neutral. And these are the pigtails that were on the that inner part of the lamp that I cut and then used them here. You could also just use another piece of wire. These are probably like 16 gauge wires, 18s. Doesn't matter. I just didn't want to go out and buy some. Now, if I had thought about it ahead of time, I would have just gotten a quick disconnect and that would have been good. But anyway, so now we're going to mount this plate. So all we got to do is put 2 screws through those slots and screw them into the holes in the box. Put the wires through the holes and we're set. So let me get this plate mounted and we'll show you that. All right, so there's our plate mounted to our ceiling box and our 3 wires coming through here. So we're all ready to mount the base. Now, so this is what makes it easier, right? Normally you'd have to fish all these through and not only have the base and try to put these 3 nuts back on to get the base attached, but then you have that the middle piece that has all electronics in it that you have to have hanging down, and you got to sort of attach these 2. So the whole thing would be a nightmare, right? This way I can get the heaviest part, which is the base attached. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to get the black base, put it under just pass it through these 3 stud sticking and screw those little nuts on, and then reattach the ground, and then we only have the 2 feeds left. So let me go get the base. All right, so there it is. The base is installed to the mounting plate now, and again, you're just hand tightening these little knurled nuts right here. Don't need any tools for that, just hand tighten them. That's good enough, and that's all you need. There's my wires. Now we're going to take our ground and we're going to reattach it back to the plate here with that screw. Alright, so there's our ground wire connected back to the base, so we're all set. So all we have to do is connect our hot and our neutral to the plate that gets mounted on these 3 screws here, and then put it up and tighten those screws and we're set. So this will be the hardest part if you don't have somebody to help you hold it while you're trying to put on these 2 connectors. But it's doable because I've done it in the other room, so we'll do it here. Alright, so there's my 2 connections off my main lighting panel, right? So I got them stripped, ready to go. So these are the 2 I'm going to join up with the 2 that are coming out of the ceiling, and then just slide this panel on, twist it, and tighten down the 3 screws. Alright, I've attached my wires and I slid the panel on, so I just have to tighten down these 3 screws here. Again, you don't have to over tighten them, you just snugget them down. Actually, this is not quite twisted. And you're set to go. Actually, one little note with these screws is there's a little washer right here between the screw and this plate. And when you put it through, if you don't have the screw loose enough, you may get that washer trapped on the other side of this plate. So make sure the washer is on this side. There's a big washer on the other side and there's a smaller washer on this side. So just make sure you see that little washer right here between the 2. And then it'll sit even. Mine wasn't sitting even and I didn't know why, and then I figured it out. So there's a little washer you have to make sure gets trapped between the screw and the plate. Alright, so there's the finished installation. So nice clean modern look. And all we gotta do now is set it up in the Hue app and get it programmed, and we're set to go. So let's go do that. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, we got to give it power, right? So you just hit the switch on the wall, obviously, and it should light up. Which it does. So we got power, everything's lit, so now we just got to program it. So we're going to go down to the Hue app, and we're going to start with that and give it a whirl. So let me get that going. Alright, so here we are in the Hue app. So if you're familiar with this app, you already know how to do all this stuff, but basically what we're going to go to is light setup. And then we're going to do add light, and we're going to do a search, and then hopefully it'll find our new light. So it did find our new light at the top here. I also got a Amazon Alexa notice that it found 1 light. Okay, but you can hit the info on that light, and then you can name it whatever you want to. So I'm going to call mine Sneaker Room Ceiling. Okay. So there's my new light. I'm going to go to room setup, create a room. I'm going to call it Sneaker Room. Okay, do a save. Okay, now I should have that room listed here, and I'm just going to add my light. So I'm just going to look for my Sneaker Room ceiling light, hit save, and that's it. So if I go under home here, you can see at the bottom here, there's a new room called Sneaker Room. And when I go into that, you can see it's on right now. So if I go into that, you can see it lists out that light, Sneaker Room Ceiling. And when you go in here, you can do all your different settings for what you would like to do with this light. right? So you have all your different room light settings. But I'm actually going to go back here to the room itself. And when you go to that, then you have all your different choices for the type of light that you want on that particular room. Now, this is not advertised on the box or anywhere, but this does have all the different shades of white. It's not a colored light, but it does have all the different shades. So you can have bright light, blue lights, you know, outdoor lights, whatever you want. So I usually pick either bright or reed. So in this room, I'm going to pick it as reed. And then you can see it's at 100%. Okay, so that's what it's set to right now at the bottom here. So let's go over to the room and we'll show you how the different options control it. Alright, so you can't see this in the video because obviously you can't see the way it's affecting their light in the room, but you know, all the different choices you have on the menu right here. So if I pick a different one, so let's do just like Savannah Sunset. If I hit that choice, you can see how the light sort of changed to a different type of white. Or if you do relaxed, it's more like a yellowish light. I could do energized, which is like a bright blue light. So they have the different choices. If I do dimmed, you can see it's very dimmed. Again, you can't really tell in the video, but the room is changing dramatically in the room itself. Okay, so you can do that, and then also you can also pick on the app itself right here. If you go to the color palette, you can also just drag your finger to any part of the different types of white from blue to yellowish on the palette too, and make your own custom colors, whatever you want to do there. So it's pretty much like any other white hue light, and you have the same basic options. Now what we're going to do is all our rooms are set up with motion sensors. So we're actually going to add this to our motion sensor for this room, and then it'll just come on and off automatically as you come in and out of the rooms. So on your app here, when you're doing your motion sensors, there's an accessory set up, and that lists all your different motion sensors for your rooms. So all we're going to use is the sensor for this room, and then set it up the same way. And then you can also set it up so that when you're in these sensors here, you can see you can change it so that it automatically will display a different kind of light based on the time of day. So at nighttime, it'll do a dimmed instead of doing a bright. So when you walk into the room, you're not hit with a whole bunch of light. So you have all those different choices. So just like any other hue light, works the exact same way, no difference as far as that goes. So as far as the light goes itself, it's really nice, works well, connected right up with the Hue app. And of course I can use it with Amazon's Echo system also, and control it with my voice too if I want to that way also. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the cost, and is it worth it? Alright, so final thoughts on the Philips Hue Cher light. So, and it's spelled C-H-E-R, just like the Entertainer. So that's its name, if you're interested in this one light. So just some facts on it. Again, it's 3,000 lumens. It's pretty bright. So for an average size bedroom, a laundry room, hallway, anything like that, plenty of light. Okay, 3,000 lumens. It uses 39 watts at its full brightness. So, you know, that's less than a 40 watt bulb. And obviously with a 40 watt bulb, you don't get anywhere near that many lumens. It does have a light range from 2200 to 6500 Kelvin. So you get a really warm yellowish light all the way up to the cool daylights, blue type of light. So you've got a complete range. You can dim it. Obviously you can control it with the Hue app. You can set timers for it for different times of day to react differently. So at night you could have a different color light during the day. You can hook it up to the Hue motion sensors, which I have it, which work fantastic. So as far as its functionality, it works perfect, no problems, just part of the Hue ecosystem, and all that stuff works fine. So next question is the price. So what is the price? So it's $195 is the cheapest I could find I got them from Best Buy. You might be able to get them on sale for a little cheaper, but in general, that's around what they cost, no matter where you look. And so, basically on these lights, it's a lot of money for a ceiling light, and the question is it worth it? So, functionally everything works. I think a lot of the money that you're paying for is the design. So, I noticed when I was searching online through all kinds of websites, lighting sites, you know, all the big box stores, every place to find ceiling lights, the second you would go into anything with a contemporary modern or mid-century modern design, the price pretty much doubled. So I don't think it costs Philips this much to make this light, but it's just because this is kind of a design that people like, and so they know they can make a lot of money off it, and I think that's what they're doing. Because you saw there was just an LED strip in there. I bought LED strips to put under my kitchen cabinets on one of my previous videos, and a 6-foot strip was only $89. And so this light doesn't have anywhere near a 6-foot strip. It's probably maybe 2 foot all the way around. So obviously you're not paying for necessarily the hardware. It's really the design that you're paying for. But they look great on the ceiling. It's kind of a timeless design, and like I said, everything works perfectly in the Hue ecosystem. So whether it's worth it to you, that's you'll have to make that call. But I think it is a little bit overpriced. I think these would be more reasonable around the $140 range. Then it would be a nice price for these and a pretty good deal. But hopefully you can get them on sale and save a little money that way. So that's pretty much it. So installation, functionality, all works perfect. Again, for that price, you think they would give you at least the wire connectors and the screws and everything that you need to actually mount it, and maybe even a little Torx wrench to come with it, so that you can actually get the 2 halves apart, which are required to mount it. But they don't. So just make sure that you get all those things before you start your installation. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.